So, remember that Lessing said that pictures are unable to tell stories because they cannot show the passage of time. And I want to show you now that comics invented means to do exactly that, to show or depict the passage of time in pictures, individual pictures. And here we go. And look at that. This is one panel from Seth, Clyde Fans. And there you see an old man standing there, crushing out his cigar, and he's talking. And you have a speech balloon there where it says something. Yeah, at first we sold our own fans alongside of the more established brands, but eventually we focused in on just our own products, something like that. Although the panel is just a snapshot of him crushing out his cigarette, we know exactly how long this takes because, we have the speech balloon and there's a text which exists in time. And we measure the time it takes to crush out the cigarette or cigar by the time it takes him to utter this phrase. Okay, so yes, combining pictures and words gives us the possibility to measure one with the other. Okay, and as we, for example, here we cannot. Okay, this is Gustave Doré, his illustration of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, where the mariner shoots the albatross, and what you see here is just a snapshot. It could just well be a picture. You see the arrow hovering in the air, okay, and the albatross really still. There's no movement at all. So this is really what Lessing said. This is just space. There is no time. But compare it to that. This is Hunt Emerson, same scene, Rime of the Ancient Mariner shooting the albatross. But here, you very well the depiction of time because you have a ping and you have a plock, so there's time passing between those two sounds, of course, when he shoots the arrow with a suction cup. Yes, but that it's a comic, all right. And then you have these what we call motion lines, and the motion lines is exactly that. We see the arrow really flying in our eye, and this is exactly that. Yes, there is a passage of time here between the ping and plock, and the motion line shows us the direction the arrow is flying. Yeah. Okay, so motion lines, obviously, and particularly superheroes can't do without motion lines. They are a means to show the passage of time, as are these onomatopoetic devices we have here. Okay, once again, this is a very early Superman comic, back from the 30s, I think, yes, 1939. And there you see the young Superman discovering his strength and jumping from one rooftop to the other. But there's no motion. He's hovering in the air. For all we know, he could just as well be attached to some nylon string or something. It doesn't look anything like movement. But then again, we have to cut them some slack, Simon and Schuster, or Siegel and Schuster, sorry, since they did not have yet the means to depict something like that here, you see. So this would be a Spider-Man comic dating to the 2000s, early 2000s. And there you see Spider-Man's rival doing exactly that, jumping from one rooftop to the other. But, however, first of all, we have a so-called polyface. Yeah, so we show him in different phases of his jumping, and then you have these blurry images which give you the idea he was there, but he is not anymore. Okay, and the motion lines, of course, and everything is in the turning point. You see, and that's a very important thing comics developed, showing motion in their exact turning point, when one movement turns to the next. So yes, passage of time in one panel, very much so. Here again, Superman comic. No, this is Batman. the Batman. Yeah, okay. But here again, I mean, you see the turning point. I mean, Robin, yeah, hits some, I don't know, thug, villain, whatever. But you see, I mean, it's not something like this that the fist stops here, but the fist goes through, okay? And we measure the time. You see, I mean, he must have hit him. He is in the turning point. He has started somewhere, and he's going the other direction. And you have these motion lines, and you see exactly that he hit his chin somewhere in the process, of course, yeah. And he's in the direct, in he's about to fall. He's not standing anymore. He's just somewhere in between, yeah? Turning point. And of course, you know exactly. I mean, he has been hit and he's going to fall down. And this is the passage of time. Add to that, Robin's, what you boys need is more spinach, of course. This, of course, gives you the duration of the scene, more or less. Okay, this is Scott McCloud, the great Scott McCloud, and I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, you see these motion lines, you see this bloke flying very much in the turning point, then you see the arrow, I mean, which has just left this piece of machinery, whatever it is, and going the other direction. And yes, I mean, you know, there's a lot of motion in this thing. So one panel, motion, possible, yes, we have found various means, yeah, polyfaces, motion lines, turning points, and most of all, measuring the time depicted here through the speech balloons, or the speech that is uttered. Okay, the next thing, I mean, of course, most obviously, everybody says comics are sequential art, so the passage of time is depicted in sequences by having more than one panel juxtaposed one to the other. And as here, yeah. Again, an early Batman scene, and you see Batman and Robin standing there, watching some burglars, or whatever they are, yeah, clearing a warehouse, or whatever it is. And the next scene, they jump down and get them, okay? And there is some cognitive process, mental process, so you have to, which takes place in the reader between those two panels, because we have a gutter, yeah? This is the free space between those two panels, and we have to fill it in. And this is the cognitive effort required from the reader, that you actually fill in the blank spaces. And we do. I mean, we see in our inner mind that they are scaling the wall there and jumping down, so the time it takes from the first panel to the next. So yes, there is a passage of time, and this is, of course, most of all created through our imagination, or the scene that happens in between, as does, by the way, the Batman's and Robin's capes. I mean, yes, I mean, why do all superheroes have capes? Yes, because, I mean, they can show movement in a very obvious way, because, I mean, they are just trailing behind and something like that, yeah, in the wind. I mean, yes, of course, capes, superheroes, standard depiction. Okay, anyway, same thing here, yeah, same thing here. Just wanted to include another one. I mean, you see the Batman across the deck, some pirates. Okay, very, very anachronistic, but anyway, I mean, it seems to work. And then he, right now, hits the group of pirates there, and we measure the time. Yeah, we take the time it takes for him to in a way, yeah, move across the moon, which is depicted there. Yeah, it's night, and then directly hitting the group of pilots, and yeah, saying these words, mind if I butt in, and you see them falling, you see them in their turning point, you see the motion lines, everything. Yeah, but I mean, more than just one panel, we see where he's coming from, and we have to, yes, make a certain closure, yeah, in the middle. Okay, there's that. Or take that very subtly done. Yeah, passage of time is a scene from Whiteout, a comic turned into a major motion picture, which is quite all right, I think. Yeah. There you see two. I think they are spies. One is American, one Russian, or something like this. They meet in Antarctica. I mean, we don't have to go into details here, but the fascinating thing is, I mean, although those two panels look the same, they are not. Okay, you see them. They are in the middle of Antarctica, and they are very exhausted because they crossed half of the continent. Fall down and just regard the background image, and you see hills, mountains there in Antarctica, which suddenly disappear, become blurry. Yes, there's some mist, a storm emerging, a whiteout. And that's the most terrible thing that can actually happen to you in Antarctica because, I mean, chances you survive when there's a snowstorm coming are very limited indeed because, I mean, you're going to freeze to death. They dig a hole later on and they survive. I mean, they dig a hole there very quickly. Yeah, and survive. But then again, I mean, you see that. I mean, sometimes you really have to look. There is passage of time. The passage of time it takes, yeah, for the mountains to disappear. Yeah, and we have to fill that in. So a snowstorm is advancing. Okay, all that. I mean, sometimes you can show the passage of time. If you completely do away with the panel borders, as here, yeah, in Joe Sacco's Palestine. You see the hustle and bustle in the streets of. Don't pin me down. Is it Gaza? I'm not quite sure. But here we see, you see chaos. Basically, what you see chaos. You say people moving. I mean, perspectives are certainly distorted. There's a big hustle and bustle there, but you hear the noise in the streets and you really see what is going on. I mean, with those people, I mean, they are talking, they are shouting, they are crying, and so on. I mean, brilliantly done. Joe Sacco, yes, Palestine, like a graphic novel which I can only recommend highly. Yeah? Joe Sacco, the major comic journalist. This is what he is. He really goes to places of war and draws his comics there. Okay, we come to that later on in the next installment, but here we go. I mean, just to sum it up, yeah, in spite of what Lessing said, that pictures are unable to tell stories, they are. There are various means, yeah. In single panels, you measure, yeah, text and of course, image or panel. You have motion lines, you have turning points, you have onomatopoetic devices, all that. And of course, then you have the juxtaposition of panels. And there is a certain cognitive effort we have to make in the middle between two panels, the blank space, which we call the gutter, which you have to fill in. And we call this closure. Okay, we have to close the gap, if you like, cognitively by imagining what's going on in between. Okay, all right. We come to the page in the next episode. Okay, all right.